You made it. So why does your gas tank feel empty? Maybe it's because you spent years taking care of everything except the one thing that made it all possible. You. You worked hard. You carried the load. You handled the pressure. You did what you were supposed to do. You built a career. You took care of the family. You paid the bills. You showed up. You kept going. And from the outside, it may look like you succeeded. But inside, you may feel tired, drained, heavy, flat, like you reached the place you were trying to get to, but somehow arrived with nothing left in the tank. Welcome to the way of permanent transformation. My name is Stanley Bronstein, and this video is especially for those of you in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and early 70s who've spent years being responsible, dependable, and strong. But now you may be asking a question you didn't expect to ask. Why doesn't this feel better? Why does the life I built feel so heavy? Why does my gas tank feel empty? Let me tell you what may be happening. Many decent, caring, responsible people run their tanks dry and call it virtue. They call it responsibility. They call it duty. They call it love. They call it being strong. They call it doing what has to be done. And sometimes that's true. There are seasons where sacrifice is necessary. There are seasons where you have to carry more. There are seasons where other people genuinely need you. But if sacrifice never stops, it stops being sacrifice. It becomes self neglect. And self neglect is not the same thing as goodness. This is one of the key ideas in one of my books, The Way of Healthy Selfishness. Healthy selfishness is not ugly selfishness. Ugly selfishness says, I matter and no one else does. Healthy selfishness says, I matter too. That one word changes everything. Too. Your health matters too. Your peace matters too. Your energy matters too. Your future matters too. Your joy matters too. Your body matters too. Your mind matters too. Your spirit matters too. And if your gas tank feels empty, it may be because you've been living as if everyone and everything else matters, but you don't. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying stop caring. I'm not saying abandon people. I'm not saying become selfish in the ugly sense. I'm saying you cannot sustainably give what you do not have. You cannot keep giving calm if you're chronically overwhelmed. You cannot keep giving patience if you're emotionally depleted. You cannot keep giving wisdom if your mind is exhausted. You cannot keep giving energy if your body is neglected. You cannot keep giving strength if your own tank is empty. You may be able to fake it for a while. You may be able to push through for a while. You may be able to keep performing for a while, but eventually the tank tells the truth. That's why the oxygen mask principle matters. When you're on an airplane, they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first before helping someone else. Not because other people don't matter, because you can't help them well if you can't breathe. That's not selfish. That's functional. That's responsible. That's wise. And it applies to life. If other people depend on your clarity, your stability, your love, your leadership, your patience, your judgment, or your strength, then your condition matters. You're not a machine. You're not a bottomless well. You're not an endless source of output with no need for input. You're a human being, and human beings need to refuel. In another one of my books, The Way of Time, Energy, and Resource Management, I talk about time, attention, and energy this way. Time is the container. Attention is the steering wheel. Energy is the fuel. And if your energy is low, everything gets harder. Your focus gets weaker. Your patience gets weaker. Your discipline gets weaker. Your decisions get weaker. That is why your gas tank matters. Energy is not just how busy you feel, energy is the fuel you use to live your life. And every day you're spending it. The question is whether you're spending it wisely or leaking it all day long. One reason people in midlife and beyond feel so drained is that they've spent years confusing being needed with being healthy. Those are not the same thing. You can be needed and exhausted. You can be useful and resentful. You can be praised and depleted. You can be successful and unhealthy. You can be admired and still feel empty. That's why success alone is not enough. Success does not automatically refill the tank. Sometimes success drains the tank, especially if you built that success by ignoring your body, silencing your needs, avoiding rest, suppressing your truth, and saying yes when wisdom was telling you to say no. So, what do? You start by telling yourself the truth. Where is your tank empty? Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, relationally? Where have you been running on fumes? Where have you been pretending you're fine because everyone expects you to be fine? Where have you been calling something responsibility when it may actually be self neglect? That question matters because you cannot refuel a tank you refuse to admit is empty. Then you need to understand something very important. Health is wealth. Your health is not a side issue. It's not something you get around to after everything else is handled. Your health is part of your foundation. It's usable life, its capacity, its energy, its future possibility. If you lose your health, everything else gets harder. Your work gets harder. Your relationships get harder. Your thinking gets harder. Your patience gets harder. Your purpose gets harder. Your life gets harder. So, taking care of your health is not indulgence, it's stewardship. Walking, sleeping, eating better, reducing stress, protecting recovery. Those things may not look dramatic, but they fill the tank. And if you want to live your next chapter well, you need fuel. The same is true with peace. Peace is not weakness, peace is power. When you protect your peace, you protect your ability to think clearly. You protect your ability to respond instead of react. You protect your ability to stay patient. You protect your ability to make wise decisions. You protect your ability to keep your standards. If everything gets access to your attention, your emotions, and your nervous system, your tank will leak all day long. That's why boundaries matter. Boundaries are not cruel. A boundary is a limit that protects what matters. Your time matters. Your health matters. Your peace matters. Your future matters. And your life is not public property. Sometimes saying no to one thing is how you say yes to your own life. Now, I know this can be hard, especially if you've been the dependable one, the strong one, the one who always steps in, the one who fixes things, the one who carries extra, the one who doesn't complain. But here's the truth. If you keep disappointing yourself in order to avoid disappointing everyone else, eventually you're going to pay for it. Your body will pay. Your peace will pay. Your joy will pay. Your future will pay. And the people you love may eventually get a more depleted version of you. Not because you don't care, because you never refueled. So let's make this simple. This week, I want you to do two things. First, identify one drain, one thing that consistently empties your tank. Maybe it's a commitment, a habit, a person, a schedule, a pattern, a lack of sleep, a lack of movement, too much noise, too much obligation, too much saying yes when you mean no. Pick one drain, then reduce it. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just honestly. Second, identify one refill, one thing that gives life back to you. Walking, rest, quiet, prayer, reading, better food, a hard conversation, time outside, time alone, time with someone who strengthens you. something that restores your mind, body, or spirit. Pick one refill, then schedule it. One drain, one refill. Start there. That may sound simple. Good. It should be simple because people often stay stuck by making the solution too complicated. You don't have to redesign your whole life this week. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to blow anything up. You just have to stop pretending the tank can stay empty. You made it. That matters. But now the question is, can you live the next chapter with strength? Can you protect your health? Can you protect your peace? Can you stop confusing self neglect with virtue? Can you practice healthy selfishness? Can you say, I matter too? Because your gas tank doesn't refill by accident. It refills through choices, through boundaries, through rest, through movement, through honesty, through standards, through finally treating your own life as something worth protecting. And remember this, healthy selfishness is not saying I matter and no one else does. It's saying I matter too. That's the way of permanent transformation. If this message speaks to you, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. New videos are released on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you can learn more or contact me at my website, thewayofexcellence.com.